From A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with Tim Smith from the Brew. How are you doing?
I'm really good, mate. Here in not so sunny UK. The weather's good. Everything's good over here.
Well, your new album, Art of Persuasion, out October 5th on Napalm Records. Are you guys excited about this new release?
Yeah, very, very much. So we have had a great collaboration with Napalm since the beginning, well, the end of last year. And the recording of the new album was fantastic. The support we're getting from Napalm Records is amazing. And so far is so good. All we've got to do now is just see if the people like it as well, I guess. But yeah, everything's really good, man.
I felt the album was a modern rock album, but with roots in the past. Is that a fair description of the record?
Fair description, mate. You know, I mean, I guess like many other bands, we draw our inspiration from the late 70s. Sorry, early 70s, late 60s. You know, the likes of Zeppelin, The Who, the usual suspects, I guess. But, you know, it's pointless trying to replicate those sounds and those riffs now in the modern age. You have to bring it into the 21st century. So hopefully that's what we're trying to do, and that's what we're doing.
I really felt that the album had those roots in the past, but it still had a modern, very modern sound to it. I also felt that there was a little bit of the blues and perhaps even Southern blues, like the United States Southern blues sound. Is that something that you guys enjoy or went for on this record?
No, not at all, mate. To be honest, it's always interesting to see how people take a record. You know, we just write the music that we like. We obviously are drawing from inspiration that's deep at the back of our heads. But to say that we're particularly looking for a style or a genre is not true. We've never done that. Blues, well, you know, we got tarnished with that label many years ago when our first record label was a record label called Blues Matters. But to be fair, we were never really happy with that. We're not really happy with any label, I guess, but we was never too happy with the blues label. We wanted to be an out-and-out rock band, you know. But I think it's probably inevitable that the way Jace plays the guitar and the way the licks come in, it does tend to lend itself to that blues rock genre. So I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, and that takes me to my next question. How was the process behind putting this record together? How do you guys work in terms of putting the music and then the lyrics to the music?
Yeah, we do. That's absolutely the way we do it. We're a live band, and a lot of our new material and material for these albums over the years, not just this one, has always come from jamming together on stage, and we'll basically recall it on a songwriting session and say, you know, that little bit that we did there, that really, you know, it felt good, it feels good, and you can tell by the reaction from the crowd. So we always write the music first. Very rarely have we written a song where we've had the whole thing ready. You know, a melody and the lyrics come together and it's just like, hey, I've got a great song. It's usually we've got a good riff, we put the whole structure of the tune together, and then I'll have a big library of one-line quotes or ideas for lyrics, ideas for songs, and then we'll see what sort of, you know, how they marry up with the tune. I'll present it to the guys, and then we'll all sort of take a vote on it effectively and say, yeah, that kind of suits that style of song, and then we fit the lyrics around the tune. That's the way we work. Yeah.
So when you go into the album, when you go into the studio for this album specifically, Art of Persuasion, did you guys already go with the songs prepared, or at any point in time when you go in, there's always room to tweak it a little bit and modify it?
That, mate. Yeah, there is always that. But we worked with a producer called Toby Jepson. I don't know if you know Toby Jepson, but he was the lead singer of a band called the Little Angels in the early 90s. Very, very, very successful band, toured with Bon Jovi, and you know, they've sold millions of albums. And Toby's a great producer. He's very song focused. Although we like to be a little bit more wayward and a little more experimental, he sort of reins us in and makes us focus on a good song. The point I'm making is that we have at least a week and a half with Toby pre-studio, you know, just to fine tune the song so that when we hit the studio, we're ready to go. We don't record individual tracks, we record live. And having said all of that, to answer your second part of the question is, yes, there is still always room once you've recorded it to tweak, because that's the way it is. You know, with the best preparation, there's always room for maneuver. And yeah, until you actually listen to the first playback and you're totally happy, there's always that just may get swapped around a little. But I would say 95% of the time we hit the studio with everything ready to go.
How important, I really enjoyed Jason's vocals. He has such a cool voice. How important was Jason's vocals in terms of putting the sound of the band together?
Well, Jason's vocals has grown. Originally, I did all the vocals. And then as Jason got older, I mean, you must understand, Jason joined the band at 14. Yeah, I mean, he had a 14-year-old's voice, and it took a few years for that to mature, and then eventually it did mature into a great voice. So he's developed his style as the band's progressed and the music style has progressed. His voice is adapted to what we're trying to portray with the songs. So we don't particularly write songs for his voice or style of voice. We write songs and then Jason adapts to the song, if that makes sense.
Do you guys work on that together in terms of creating? I know you said you don't write the songs thinking of his vocal style, but when you put the song together, do you ever think of his range in terms of how far he can take it, or you guys are very confident that doesn't matter what song you present to him, he's always going to be able to deliver?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we are. I mean, we wouldn't write anything outrageous. I mean, we've always got that in mind. Can he make this happen? And if we really are sort of stuck with the way and the key that we've written the song in and the way the melody line we'd like it to go, if it just is proving too difficult, then yeah, we'll adapt it in some way, shape or form. But we don't really have a strict rule on that.
I have to ask you about one of my favorite songs of the album is 7 Days Too Long. Okay. I absolutely love that song. And one of the things that I love about that song is how much of the bass comes through. And that's true for a lot of the record. Yeah. Does that have a lot to do with you being the one playing the bass?
Yeah, I mean, I've been striving for a distinctive bass, and it started to come through on the Control album, and people really noticed it and said, wow, that is a modern driving bass sound. It progressed with Shake the Tree, and then on this album again, and we think it's gone again to another level where it's a very distinctive sound. You know, there's only 3 of us, so we've got a very distinctive guitarist, got a distinctive drummer who's knocking the hell out of the drums at the back, very much in the Keith Moon style of playing, I've got to say. Not so much on this album, having said that, but certainly live. And the bass had to sort of identify itself rather than just being in the background. And I think it was important. So we you know, yeah, you are right. I mean, I'm pleased you say that. I'm pleased that people are picking up on that, because it is something that we were conscious of. We wanted to get a bass sound that was like, wow, that, you can hear that bass. You know, it's different. So we did work hard at that, yeah.
To me, it's one of the things that's kind of getting lost in a lot of new bands is that sound, that bass sound. But I think it's so rock and roll to have that strong bass line in the songs. And you guys have done that in this record, specifically in 7 Days Too Long. What was the idea behind this song? Because I think this is one of those songs that it doesn't matter where you play it. You can play it at a party, when you're driving to work. You can play it at home when you're by yourself, when you're doing work. As long as you play it extremely loud. It's the best way I can describe this song.
Yeah, man. Good. I mean, it's a song for all occasions. I mean, it was written very much as an upbeat. I mean, the bass line is almost Living on a Prayer style, and almost a Michael Jackson, Billie Jean style. You know, that sort of rhythmic, pulsating sort of, I wouldn't say disco beat, but it's almost got that sort of dance sort of rhythm to it, that dance feel to it. And Kurt was very conscious with the drums. He said it's the most dance-orientated album we've done in a lot of ways. You know, you can actually feel yourself wanting to move along to that. and yet the lyrics don't really reflect that, because the lyrics are all about everything just getting a little bit too much and everything's just 7 days too long. I mean, that's the essence of the song, really. But then there are always a lot of black and whites with songs, you know, great songs which are about dark subjects end up being massive hits. You know, let's hope that works for us. But you know what I'm saying here? It's a song of contrast in a lot of ways. But I'm pleased that you think you can play it on all occasions. It does have an uplifting tempo to it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, the message is a little bit contrasting with the style of the song, but I think that's what makes it work.
Yeah. Definitely, mate. Definitely.
I have to ask you this question. You play in a band. You said there's 3 of you in the Brew. One of them is your son playing drums.
Yeah.
How is it to be in a band with your son?
It's fine. I mean, it's always been that way for us. You know, I mean, I was in bands in the 70s, nothing special. And then we started jamming together in the late 80s, early 90s. And so I've always played with my son on the drums. And for me, it's very natural. And for us on tour, it's very natural. I don't know, what can I say? If anybody's going to cause any problems on the tour by being drunk or anything else, it's always me. So they're the good guys and I'm the bad guy. I mean, would you believe that? I mean, but now we don't have any arguments. We don't have any fallouts. If we do, it's always about family stuff, never about band-related stuff. It's crazy, really.
I was just going to say, is there ever an awkward moment at the dinner table where it's like, Dad, you didn't play the bass the way you were supposed to, and then you're like, well, your drums was not as good as they are, you know?
Yeah, we get that. You get that all the time. But then again, I know I'm playing a shit bass anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
You're being modest. You did an amazing job on this record. Like I said, one of the highlights for me on this album, I had 2 huge highlights when I did my album review. One of them is the bass and how much comes through. I really enjoyed that because he really gives this dirty rock sound to it. And the other one was Jason's vocals. I really enjoyed his vocals. I really felt that his voice fits the music absolutely perfectly. What are your expectations on this release for October 5th?
Well, I would like it to reach a wider audience, realistically, and I think it's already doing that. For example, I'm talking to you in the US, and that's a definite first. Now, that's partly because of the record label, but it's also appealing to people in a wider audience, apart from our main core of fans, which is Central Europe, you know, Germany, UK, Spain. They've always been our main core of fan base. But the fact that it's out there in the US and people are reacting to it positively to us is a major step forward, and we're so delighted that it's been able to do that for us. And hopefully now with that release, they'll look at the back catalogue as well and see some of the other stuff we've done, and then really start to get into the band. We've noticed it already, just through something as simple as Spotify. I mean, you know, we've noticed our hits on Spotify have absolutely gone through the roof, all thanks to the USA, and we just can't thank you guys enough.
Well, this brings me to my last question. After the album release, what are the plans for the band as far as tours, concerts? What do you guys have in the pipeline once the album comes out October 5th? Yeah,
we've got a 3-week tour in Europe, Central Europe, starting middle of October, and that's where it's at. I mean, that's where the main fan base is, and that's where we've got to concentrate on. We would love to come to the States, obviously. The biggest issue we have with that is, where the heck do we go? You know, every state in America is the size of a country in Europe. So which one do you pick? We don't know. So we've got to time it right. We've got to be very on the nose with where we go, where we play, what we do, and maybe we come over to a festival to try and launch the band or introduce the band or get on a good tour. I mean, interestingly, we toured with Lynyrd Skynyrd and ZZ Top over in Europe. You know, maybe we could try to do something like that over in the States just to get in front of a good audience. So we would love to go more worldwide with it, but it's always a case of, well, yeah, you can, but at the end of the day, there's massive amounts of fans available and wanting to see the band right on the doorstep. So it's a bit of a juggling act really to how we play that one.
Well, I want to wish you guys all the best of luck with the release on October 5th. Art of Persuasion from the Brew out on Napalm Records, October 5th. Go pick it up. I've done an album review. I honestly really enjoyed the album. I really felt that it was, like I said, modern rock, but with some older roots, if you will. Very enjoyable, very pure rock and roll. Great album. Great job, guys. All the best of luck.
Well, I really appreciate your comments, mate, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.